Well, all good things must come to an end. After dominating the world of professional wrestling for much of the last 2 years, the man is stepping away to embark on a new adventure. This past Monday on Raw, Becky Lynch announced that she and Seth Rollins are expecting their first child this December, which meant she had to relinquish the Raw Women's Championship to her longtime rival Asuka, who had just won Money in the Bank. It has been an incredible ride for Becky Lynch, from seemingly forgotten talent to taking the industry by storm. There have been a number of wonderful moments for her adoring fans to look back on fondly, including her tearful goodbye to them this past Monday on Raw. I'm Rick Ucchino, and today we at Sportskeeda say thank you to the man by looking back at some of her biggest moments. Number 5, The Rock and the Man School the King. During her run at the top of the company, Becky Lynch got to share the ring with a number of the business's all-time greats, including Edge, John Cena, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But none of them were able to outshine the magic we saw when the man went one-on-one with the Great One. The Rock doesn't make many appearances on WWE programming anymore, so when he does, it is a big deal. And the WWE brought in all the stars for the SmackDown premiere on Fox last October, building the entire opening of the show around Lynch and King Corbin. Well, not exactly the man everyone thought would interrupt the man, but the fans didn't have to wait long for The Rock to make his presence known, and both he and Lynch would lay the verbal smackdown on the Kings. Well, you know the rest.
Becky Lynch is the man. However, you don't see Becky Lynch walking around here holding a pair of testicles, do you?
But if I did, they'd be a whole lot bigger than yours.
The two then laid the actual smackdown on Corbin before celebrating in front of a raucous crowd. Number 4, the slap heard round the world. Leading up to the biggest party of the summer in 2018, Becky Lynch fans across the globe were very hopeful that the company was finally giving her another push after spending so many months on the back burner. She went on a lengthy winning streak to earn a SmackDown Women's title opportunity against Carmella at SummerSlam. Finally, the one-on-one title opportunity that Lynch and her fan base had been waiting for. That was until Charlotte Flair was added to the mix, setting everything in motion, and the fuse on the powder keg that was the man was lit when Lynch lost that match at SummerSlam when she was hit with a natural selection and pinned by the Queen. Always gracious in defeat, up to that moment, Lynch would walk over to the new champ and give her a hug, and then months of frustration finally boiled over, and how should I say this? Lynch slapped the head off of that dope. It was meant to be a big heel turn, but the roof blew off the Barclays Center. Turns out, fans were just as annoyed with Lynch's booking as she was, and chanted her name as she continued the post-match beatdown on her former best friend. We didn't know it at the time, but at that moment, the old steampunk Becky was dead, and the man was born. Number 3, we talked about the slap. How about the punch? Sometimes things don't go exactly how they were planned. Sometimes the results can be catastrophic, and then sometimes the results are better than anyone could script. It was the build-up to Survivor Series 2018. SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch was set to square off with Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. That was until the man led an invasion of SmackDown superstars to Monday Night Raw, and literally all hell broke loose. During a melee in the ring, Becky took a very stiff punch from Nia Jax that ended up breaking her nose and giving her a concussion. Lynch later admitted she was out on her feet, but instinctively just kept moving, just kept fighting, and laid out Ronda Rousey with a steel chair before exiting through the crowd, covered in her own blood. The final shot of the night will forever be an iconic image of the man standing high up in the crowd, arms wide spread, declaring that Raw was her show now. Now, that moment did cost Lynch her match with Rousey at Survivor Series, but it meant so much more in the long run. Number 2, the Royal Rumble victory. The 2019 Royal Rumble did not start out the way the man had hoped. She had a chance to regain her SmackDown Women's title against Asuka, and the two put on one of the best matches of the night. But the Empress of Tomorrow did come out on top, seemingly putting an end to her WrestleMania dreams. Yeah, right. We all knew the man was not going to be denied. When Lana was unable to compete in the Royal Rumble match later on in the evening due to an ankle injury, the man came around to seize an opportunity, pleading with producer Fit Finlay to let her take Lana's place, and when he did, the capacity crowd at Chase Field came unglued. Lynch strolled down to the ring, stood toe-to-toe with Nia Jax, would later face off with Charlotte, and went on to win the Royal Rumble to claim her spot at WrestleMania, which brings me to the top spot on the list. We can overanalyze the ending to the match all day long, and it does not change the magnitude of the moment one bit. This was the first ever all-women's main event in the 35-year history of WrestleMania. It was a match that Becky Lynch was never supposed to be in, a match that she likely would not have been in had she not been pulled out of Survivor Series, and a match that she would never have been in without the undying support from her fan base. Everything had to happen exactly the way it did for this moment to come true. Lynch pinning Ronda Rousey to become Becky Two Belts might not be your favorite moment in her rise to the top, but it is the most important to the man herself. This was the moment all of her career goals came true, and that's good enough for me. And now, after shattering numerous glass ceilings and changing women's wrestling forever, it's time for Rebecca Quinn's life to change forever. We at Sportskeeda wish Becky and her family nothing but health and happiness, and hopefully, one day, the man will come back around.